So we're starting chapter 3, first section of this unit, and I thought I'd try something differently. So I'm going to have you follow along and do the notes as well as the practice problems afterwards. So make sure that you're filling them in as I'm going through this. So this chapter is all about expressions, algebra, different types of expressions and how to evaluate them. And the first section does have a lot of vocab. So we're going to go through the vocab first. So make sure as I'm typing these things, you're typing them as well. An expression that may contain numbers, operations, and one or more symbols is called an algebraic expression. Okay, so how I remember this is when we have symbols, another word for that is variables, and the variables that we usually use in math are letters. So I remember algebraic because it starts with A-L, and so does the word alphabet. So that's how I remember it. So basically, if you have a math problem and there is a letter involved in it or a variable, it's an algebraic expression. So an example would be 4 plus h times 2. You have operations, you have numbers, and you have at least one variable or letter. So what I want you to do is write your own example here. So it's just a math problem that has at least one variable or letter in the problem. There are different parts of an expression, of an algebraic expression, and these are called terms. So make sure you're writing this with me. So terms are what we call the different parts of an algebraic expression. For example, 7x plus 5 has the terms 7x and 5. So basically, everything in the problem that's not an adding or a subtracting or a dividing sign or a multiplying sign are called the terms. So basically, everything except for the operation is a term. So when this says, what are the terms for this algebraic expression, see if you can come up with that, and then I'll write what they are. So take a second. So if I'm looking at this, the terms would be 9, 3x, and 15. Okay, so it's all of the parts of the problem that aren't pluses or minuses. All right, let's take a look. So for this next part, it says the number attached to the variable. So this is just more vocab. So the number attached to the variable is called a coefficient. Okay, so that means if you have a number and a variable and they're attached to each other, so that number is called the coefficient. I always remember this because co means together, so it means like they're stuck together. Numbers that are all by themselves are called constants. So if I look at this example here, it says identify the coefficient and the constant. So again, the coefficient is the number attached to the variable. So that would be 5 because that's the number attached to the variable. And the constant is the number all by itself. So that would be the 18. Okay, so coefficient, number stuck to the letter. So not the letter, the number stuck to it. And then constant is the number all by itself. Okay, so now we're going to try evaluating these. So to evaluate an algebraic expression, all you do is change the variable or the letter to the given value and then solve using the order of operations. So hopefully you remember what a number next to a letter means. Number next to a letter means times. So I'm just going to rewrite it. 7 times x equals 3, minus 2. So all I did was rewrite it and I changed the variable to the number it tells me. Now I'm going to do the order of operations. So I would multiply first. 7 times 3 is 21. Subtract 2. So my answer is 19. So that would be the final answer. So make sure you have all these notes filled out, and then you're going to continue on to the next part. Okay, so now using your notes, you're going to do this on the back of your notes, but if you need like some just reminders, you can flip it over and look. So let's take a look. It says identify the terms, coefficients, and constants. So if you remember, terms are every part of the problem except for the adding and the subtracting. So for this one, the terms are going to be 5x and 13. Those are my terms, everything but the plus or minuses. Coefficients, the number that's attached to the variable. So this is the variable, the number attached to it is 5. So there's your coefficient. Constants, the number is all by itself. So that would be 13. Okay, so you're going to pause and you're going to try B by yourself. So you're going to name all the terms, which is every part except for pluses and minuses. All, the coefficients, which is the letter attached to the variable. Sometimes, look like this, we have a variable that doesn't have something in front of it. So you have to pretend there's a 1 in front of it. So for this one, the terms are going to be 2z to the second power, y, and 3. Those are all the parts except for the pluses and minuses. The coefficient is the number in front of the letter. So this one would be 2 for this 2, not the exponent. And then again, if there's a letter that doesn't have a variable or a number in front of it, a coefficient, you always put the number 1. Last part is the constants. The number all by itself is 3. Okay, so I'm going to give you the next one I want you to try by yourself. So I'm going to have you pause and try these. You're going to identify the terms, the coefficients, and the constants. So try both of these. Do them right in the back of your notes. We're going to write an algebraic expression using exponents. So let's take a look at this one. It says write each expression. So just like we actually did this in the beginning of the year, if anyone remembers, with like smiley faces and frownies and stuff. So the letters, it's the same thing. The letter being multiplied is d, so that's the base. There's 4 of them, so d to the 4th power. This one, the base is going to be h because it's being multiplied by itself 3 times. And this one's going to have a coefficient because you're just going to put the 1.5 right in front of it. So it's 1.5 times h to the 3rd power. So let me give you one of these to try. Okay, pause and try this. You're just writing it with an exponent. So whatever's being constantly multiplied, that's your base. And then however many there are, that's going to be your exponent. If there happens to be a random number, that just goes right in front as a coefficient. So try these 2. Now we're going to try actually evaluating. So this is the one where you just replace the letter with the number it's telling you and then do out the math. So instead of k, I'm going to put 25 because that's what it says. Then I'm just going to do out the math. So 25 plus 10 is 35. That's your answer. Okay? Same down here. 4, the dot means times. I'm changing the n to a 12. Now I'm just going to multiply it out, and I get 48. So let me give you a couple of these to try. You're just going to evaluate. Change the variable to the number that it tells you, and then do out the math. Okay, so I'm going to have you try both A and B. Change the variable to the value that it's giving, and then just do out the math. So try those 2. This problem is the same exact thing, only now they just have 2 variables. So it's the same exact thing. So you're changing the letters to the number it tells you. So A would be 16 divided by B, which is 2/3. Now, we actually already did dividing fractions, which is good. So if you remember, you make your whole number a fraction by writing it over 1. You have to do the 3 words that tell you how to set it up, which is keep, change, and then flip. I'm going to cross cancel, divide these both by 2. And then I'm just going to multiply across. So I get 24 over 1, which is just 24. So you do it the same exact way. You just change both of the variables to the value it's given. Okay, so let me give you one of these ones to try. So try this one, same exact thing. The dot means times, so replace the F with a 7, the G with an 11, and then just do out the math. Try that one. Here is a 2-step problem. So same exact thing, only now you have to use the order of operations. So I'm going to change the x to a 5 because that's what it says. Then I'm going to subtract 14. So when I'm doing my order of operations, I would multiply first. 3 times 5 is 15. Take away the 14, and I get 1. I'm going to have you guys try B right below. That's an exponent. So remember, 2 to the 2nd power, 2 times 2. And then you're adding 8.5. So make that answer look like a decimal so that you can line up your decimals and then add like normal. Okay, so try that one. All right, for this one, it's saying that you are saving money to buy a skateboard. You begin with $45 and you save $3 each week. The expression 45 plus 3W gives the amount of money you save after W weeks. So that means it's $45 is what you had to begin with. Every week you're adding on $3 per week. So it says how much will you have after 4 weeks, 10 weeks, and 20 weeks. So basically what you're doing is you're changing the W in that expression to a 4, a 10, and a 20. So they did it in a little chart. So they did 45 plus 3 times 4, because the week is 4. Did out the order of operations, so 45 plus 12 and got 57. Then they did the same thing for 10 weeks. They changed the W to a 10, did the order of operations, got 75. Same thing for this last one. It says after 20 weeks, can you buy the skateboard? So after 20 weeks, you have $105, and it cost $125, so you don't have enough money.